Hi, I'm Dave Akins with Savvy Optics, and today we're going to be inspecting a interference filter. These kinds of filters actually can be very difficult to inspect because they have a very high reflectivity, and a lot of times people have trouble cleaning them because of the retaining ring. So I've done the best I could cleaning with spectral grade methanol, and we're going to go ahead and do this inspection. So this particular filter is going to a customer with a Davidson comparison set. So the first thing I'll do is set up the instruments so that I'm running in a Davidson inspection mode. Systems have all been calibrated with the different inspection comparison sets, so that's not a problem. And then we go ahead and push the piece under the viewing camera, and we're actually going to do the whole scan right here on the system because the part's only 20 millimeters in diameter. So you can see I'm going to do a quick surface walk around. You can see that there's obviously a big feature that we're going to look at. That's the one that's most important to us. But the general background, you've got a lot of these little teeny micro pits. Those little coating micro pits actually aren't accumulated. This particular part is a 60-40, so it shouldn't be a problem. And this stuff up here is cleaning residue. Now to verify that, you have to actually inspect it, accumulate it, clean it, and then inspect it again and see if they moved. Anything that moves, of course, is just dirt. But the part actually doesn't look too bad. This here is just a cleaning wipe, so we're going to ignore it, and this here is a cleaning wipe, so we'll ignore that as well. So the first thing we'll do is we'll go up to the top, look around here. Now you can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sparklers along the edge. This one looks real. That's a 70 micron dig. You can see that in the dig value window right here. So we'd call that a 10. Because there is no 7, so it's either a 5 or a 10. We'll round that up to a 10. Look at these guys here, they're all 5 and below. In fact, they're all below 5. So we'll ignore those. This one here is a 5. Oh no, it's a little bigger. It's actually a 9, so we'll call that a 10. So we've got 1 5, 1 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 5s, and another 10. So 2 10s and 6 5s, and then we'll clean the part and see if those go away. Now what we need to do is enter those into the accumulator, because we're actually going to record this particular inspection. So we know we have one dig is a 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 5s, and then another 10. Okay, so those are our digs so far, and actually if that's all that we see, then that part would still pass for digs. But you can see that there's a couple more digs we're going to need to accumulate. As we swipe down, we can see that there's a scratch over on this left-hand side we'll need to look at. A second scratch, also on the left-hand side, very faint, but we'll need to accumulate them. There's a couple more digs in the center, and then there's a big scratch in the middle. And that's cleaning residue up there. So let's go over and look at the scratches next. So this is our first scratch, so we'll call this scratch 1. You can see that's a number 10. Running from this edge here to that point there. So looking at the scratch length measurement, that's a 9.5 millimeter number 10 scratch. We'll put that into our accumulator. There's a number 10 scratch, 9.5 millimeters long. We have to accumulate all these scratches because of the accumulation rules. So now we'll go back and look at the second scratch. That's this one here. First we'll look for the maximum brightness. This one's a 20. Pretty solid 20 in fact. Yeah, almost its entire length is 20. We'll go ahead and, once again, we're doing a scratch length measurement. I choose the point where the scratch begins, move the scratch to the end, and then just read out the scratch length value, and that's an 8.3 millimeter scratch. You'll notice that I'm measuring all the way to the edge, and the reason is that this particular part has no clear aperture definition. And the default clear aperture, of course, is the entire part, which is challenging on these ringed filters. Okay, so now let's look at our big scratch. We know this one's going to be a problem. We have to look at the brightest part of the scratch. That'll be over here by the edge. And you can see that's right about the line between a 60 and an 80. I'd call that a 60. And now let's go ahead and measure it. We mark the end. Go to the other end, and that's 9.9, call it 10 millimeters long. So we have a number 60, which is 10 millimeters long. And you can see the part just switched from pass to fail, and that's going to fail for max scratch length and also scratch accumulation. So we really don't have to go on any further. We don't have to go back and measure the other digs. We'll go ahead and just take a quick look at them just to see how big they are. This one's a 5, roughly. That one's a 5. This one over here by the scratch, it's hard to get because you've got to get the scratch out and the dig in. That one's 6, so we call it a 5 as well. This one down here, a little bigger, 7. But you can see the surface is covered with a lot of these smaller 5 to 10 digs. A lot of those are contamination. They'll just clean up or they'll move around when I actually do a wipe. So what I'll do in order to document that is I'll get one of these star fields of what look like contamination digs. I'll save the image to the screen. That'll drop it into the data folder, and I'll write that data as well so I can actually see exactly what it is I've got. And then I'll do that again up here where I have my other star field. I'll go ahead and save that image and write that data as well. So now I've got all those image files saved, and I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to go back and look at this guy. Because this is the real cause of the failure for the part, I'm going to get that back into the window, get the scratch grade up so that I know what the grade is. That's a 60. Click the Save Image and Screen, do the right data, and that guy is documented now. It drops right into the QA folder that I can pull up and add to the scratch accumulator so that I can document all this and send it off to the client. So that's how you would inspect an interference filter. These are really tough filters to measure. They're very high brightness reflectivity. A lot of people would say that it's a difficult part to evaluate visually. I haven't actually had too much trouble measuring them visually, but I'd have to say the fainter scratches, those 10 and 20, sometimes those won't show up under a visual inspection. So that's it. That's how you use a SavvyInspector to do an interference filter.